This sewing machine, like most sewing machines that we know today, is a lock stitch sewing machine as opposed to the chain stitch. The beauty of that is that you've got a bobbin which makes a second thread. So you've got your upper thread, and then you've got down here in the bobbin area would be a bobbin. I'm going to demonstrate this machine, but this machine uses these class 66 bobbins, and they are, this is an antique one from its time. Singer still sells class 66 bobbins. This is a clear one, but for some reason the dimensions seem almost identical, but the space between the top and bottom part of the spool is just a little too small, and as a result it had a very difficult time winding on the bobbin winder. This is a bobbin winder here. Okay, so since I've got thread on here, and I did sew with it, I did have this in the bobbin case, but I just don't like the fact that it was being scraped up, so I went ahead and I'm buying a few more metal bobbins, which, I mean, I don't know if you could even notice the difference, but there's a slight difference. And the fact that it was scraping here on this tab, I said, nah, I'll just stick with, you know, what I know. I know I have two other sewing machines by today's standards. I have a Juki and a Brother, and they use the clear plastic ones, but those I think are class 15. I gotta look. Whatever they are. My recommendation, always stick with whatever the manufacturer recommends. And apparently to put a plastic bobbin in an old sewing machine is probably not a good idea. I mean, you could play with it, you know, you could see if it works. If it works, great, use it. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, but apparently the dimensions are slightly different. So here's your bobbin winder, so that's good. This particular sewing machine is belt driven. So in the back here, this is the motor. This is part of the motor anyway. Here's the pulley, and here's the belt. Okay, there's the belt. I replaced the belt recently, as well as this tire here on the bobbin winder. It was a little dry rotted originally. But if you notice, as it spins, a little finger moves back and forth, and it will very, very ingeniously move the thread back and forth on the spool so that it will be nice and even on all sides, not just built up on one side or you know, or the other. By the way, this is a this is a Singer Model 99, which is apparently the little brother to the Singer Model 66. The 99, this is a 3/4 sized sewing machine. What that basically means is, if you look at the dimensions of this here, 66 will be bigger. The 99 that I have here, 3/4 size machine, is still the same machine. It's just that I think the 66 might even be taller, and the 66 is definitely a little bit longer. So if you need space between the needle and this support area, if you need more space, I would go with the 66. But the 99, gorgeous little machine. This is the Great Britain version of it. It does have the built-in light, and over here. And the funny thing is, this is a 99, yet 99s have been around, I think, since 1931. This particular model, based on the serial number down here, was built in 1951. And ironically, here you go, it is actually the 100th anniversary, 1851 to 1951. This machine was actually made in 1951. So the Model 99 was out for like 20 years. I guess you'd say this was like a reissue. It's still an antique. It's still a beautiful old machine in a wooden case. There's the bent wood cover that goes over the whole thing, and it locks in place over here. Over here you have a little side compartment, and you can put your, accessories, screwdrivers. I have this particular one that I got from the antique store. There's a bunch of presser feet in there for different, quiltings and ruffles and things like that. This is an antique screwdriver, funny looking screwdriver. But just, I haven't really played with that stuff yet. So this is just my newest creation. My newest interest are these sewing machines. This I rewired. This is a brand new wire with a cloth covering that goes down to the foot pedal. There's the foot pedal, Bakelite foot pedal, with the new wire that comes off of it. The wire was originally frayed and severed at the edge. So I decided to just, rather than tape it up, I figured I'll just rewire it. This machine is, for its age, if you look at the decals, everything's in excellent condition. I don't think this is a re-decal. You can buy decals and redo it, but I mean, just looking at some of the scrapes and stuff, it does appear to be authentic. Beautiful, ornate, looking stuff. And the story behind that, these are machines that were coming into people's homes. This is an electric one, and it's in a stand, a base here rather, but you can take it out of here. This it comes out very quickly. It rotates up. I don't want to rotate it too much, but it does come up. You can get to the bottom, and it'll come out. You can put it in one of those sewing machine tables that have a treadle. And if you take this belt off, you can attach the treadle to this flywheel. There's also versions of this that have a hand crank. So if you want to do this without electricity, you could hand crank the machine. That must be a pain in the butt to do, hand cranking it. Or, like I said, treadle driven, where you're stepping on a foot pedal, like this. And there's a big flywheel on the bottom that the belt is attached to, and it comes up to here. But I like the versatility of the electric. You step on it and away you go. So just to go over a couple of features here. This is the stitch length. How close, how tight or loose the stitches are from each other. Stitch length, because there's no stitch width. There's no zigzag on this machine. This is a straight stitch only, by the way. And this is the stitch length. Basically, how many stitches per inch do you want? And the thing with that is there's no dial. Okay, it's a screw. You just screw it one way or the other. And what happens is that's all it is. There's no dial to say, oh, here is, whatever, here is whatever. There's no markings. And that's just the way they were. The 66 had the same thing. That's just the way it was designed. So it's not a flaw. It's not like something wore off here. That's all it was. And then, of course, coming over here, another odd thing. This is the tensioner. This is where the thread will go through and be basically it'll basically be pinched with a certain amount of tension, and this will help to create the stitches. Up here is your take-up arm, which will move up and down. Some ornate decorations on the front here. Make it nice and pretty. And why do they have all these things? Because these are machines that are coming into people's homes, and they're machines, but they wanted to make it more elegant, and they knew that a lot of women were going to be doing a lot of the sewing, so they wanted to make it a little feminine, a little gentle looking, not so hard and industrial looking. You got your feed dogs, pretty standard. You got your needle, and of course your presser foot. And then over here, this is where you have the drop-in bobbin. This particular model has a drop-in bobbin that is quite easy to use. So you take your bobbin, and you're going to, I'm going to try to do this with one hand. Off the top is how you want your thread. So we're going to come in here, we're going to drop the bobbin in, like so. You're going to look for the little, there's like a little slit there. Okay. And then you're going to come around, and you're going to shut this right onto the thread, with the thread going through that little hole. Okay, and now we're going to wind or put the thread on the spindle. And again, since I have this, it's thread, it's still fine. I'm going to put this on the thing instead of an actual spool of thread. The thread's going to come across here over this little hook. Then you got to come down. Make sure that your presser foot is up when you're threading this, because then you'll have the correct tension on the thread and you'll be able to get it into the groove correctly. So you want to come in here like so. There's a little spring, go past the spring, come back down. There's a little hook down here like so. I don't know if you just saw that. Let me do that again. Okay, so you're going to go over between the tension discs around this little spring here. So this little spring, go up and past the spring and back down. Okay, and then you're going to put some pressure on that spring. Meanwhile, you're going to come underneath this hook like so, and then you're going to thread it into this upper thing here, upper take-up arm. Okay, so I cheated a little bit just for time. So you thread it through the take-up arm there, and then it comes down in front of the faceplate into this little thing. You just kind of clicks right in there. The thread comes down here. There's a little, it just clips it in there like that. And then you're going to come down to the eye of the needle. The needle's a thread from left to right, not front to back. Big difference from a standard sewing machine of today. Left to right, and then so I brought it down underneath the presser foot and off to the right. And now, the moment of the magic, we're going to hand crank the wheel. I usually hand crank it nice and slow. So feed dogs go down, needle goes in, the bobbin unit should spin around, it should grab the bobbin thread, and there you go. Now it's in there. So what you're going to do, you're going to pull on this thread, and there's the bobbin thread. Okay. Just pinch this so we can get into it. There you go. You're going to pull this bobbin thread all the way through. And make sure that this thread is under the presser foot. Off to the back, and away you go. Okay. Okay, and just put this paper towel in here, just to demonstrate. Press on the foot pedal. And there you have it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed this video of my Singer 99 awesome antique sewing machine built in 1951.